Then I called up my brother and I borrowed $800. He gave me $800. I went to the jewelry store. I bought her a ring, proposed to her. I proposed. Listen, I'm telling you. Listen, it gets worse. It gets worse. I swear to God. Train your girl to be the submissive, obedient, respectful woman she was meant to be with my brand new interactive ebook, How to Train Your Woman. Link in description. I'll tell you guys a story about the worst. I'm gonna give you guys the Reader's Digest version of the girl that I love the most. This story is it's absolutely crazy. To make a very long story very short, I started paralegal school when I was 31 years old, and there's this hot 19-year-old in my class. We took a shine to each other immediately, right? It was a great relationship. We spent every day together, blah, 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 blah. Red flag number one that I didn't even think about. One day, I had a headache in class because I suffer from migraines, and she recognized that. She says, "What's wrong?" I said, "Well, I've got a headache." She's like, "All right." Reaches into her purse, and she gives me this big white pill. I'm like, "What is that?" She says, "It's Vicodin." And I was like, "All right." So I took the Vicodin. Headache is gone. What's a 19-year-old doing with a bag full of Vicodin, right?
She's a drug dealer, right?
No problem at all. Red flag number two, she had homemade tattoo on her wrist, right? Told me she got it when she was 15. Hold on. Red flag number three. Stay with me. Red flag number three, she had a 6-year-old. She was 19 years old who had a 6-year-old, which means what, class? She had her child at 13, which means she was having sex at 12. It gets even better. The baby daddy was in prison at the time we were dating.
Oh.
Statutory EPAR. Here's the reason why they didn't throw the book at him with Jessica's Law. It's because she testified to the jury that she seduced him, and the jury actually bought it. The jury actually bought it. So let's set the scene. So my birthday, I open up Facebook to get all the birthday love. She left her account open on my computer on Facebook. I scrolled through, saw all kinds of stuff, drove to her place. I said, "I want you to be honest with me. Have you cheated on me?" I wanted her to lie to me, and I wanted her to lie to me so I could just keep up the delusion. She said, "Honestly, yes." That is the worst emotional pain I've ever felt in my life. To this day, I never will. Dude, I went to her bathroom, I puked, ripped off the necklace. She's blowing me up at work all day long. I'm sorry. I can't pick up the phone. So finally, I picked up the phone. She's like, "Hey, I'm sorry, I want to spend the rest of my life with you, da-da-da-da-da." She's like, "Look, I want to come to your place. I have a birthday surprise for you." So she comes over, she has like this little cupcake, and she bought me a watch that she knew I was looking at. Then she turns around and lifts up her shirt. There was my name tattooed on the small of her back. Dude, my hand to the man. So I was back in her clutches. It was all downhill from there. Guys, this story gets so much worse.
How old were you? I
was 31. I was 31 years old. Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say 17.
Oh no. So she continued cheating on me, right? So I'm always trying to catch her. I lost my job. I lost the place that I was at. The car that I had was paid for because I paid cash for it. It broke down. I didn't have a job, so I couldn't get it fixed. I'm evicted. I ended up having to live with a couple of her drug addict friends in a quasi crack house. Both people were on felony probation.
What?
You can't make this up. Both people, the guy and the girl, were on probation for felony possession. They were on felony probation, ankle bracelets, the whole nine. And so I lived there, and so I had to live there, right? And so finally, and I kept trying to get back with her. September 16th, baby daddy gets out of prison. Okay, baby daddy gets out of prison. I called her up on September 15th. I said, "You know what? I can't do it. I think you still love Ben. I can't do it anymore." Dude, she cried her eyes out. Hung up the phone. I stayed up all night long. I couldn't sleep. So I called her up. I called her up the next day. I was like, "Hey, meet me at this gas station." Then I called up my brother, and I borrowed $800. He gave me $800. I went to the jewelry store. I bought her a ring, proposed to her. I proposed. Listen, I'm telling you. Listen, it gets worse. It gets worse. I swear to God. People wonder why I speak with such conviction about these things. Dude. Look.
Jesus Christ, Donovan.
It gets worse. It gets worse. So she says yes, right? So now, all of her friends are like, oh, she's getting engaged. Well, eventually she started fucking the baby daddy behind my back.
Of course.
So we were in this love triangle. Anytime she was pissed off at me, she'd go and fuck him. Anytime she was pissed off at him, she would come and fuck me. So finally on Thanksgiving, I had to call my brother. My family was in this was in North Carolina. My brother comes out into this quasi crack house, and he's kind of looking around, and they're all looking up at him like, that's your brother? And of course we look alike. And so I'll never forget, man. I'm telling my brother about the situation. He's like, my real name's Alex. He's like, Alex, what are you doing? And I said to him, dude, you don't choose who you love. I still loved her. So he drives me back after Thanksgiving dinner. This girl calls me up and tells me that she was now engaged to be married to Ben, right? I'm crushed, I'm heartbroken, I'm crestfallen. I'm doing pills, I'm doing drugs.
From the time that you recognized the tattoo and that she had a 6-year-old to this time, how long has time progressed?
I met her the first day of the second semester, so right in January. So this happened this happened in one calendar year. So I'm telling you, you can't make this stuff up. So now I've lost her forever. So now I'm doing drugs and all this other kind of stuff. During the time I was living at that quasi crack house, they were telling me, yeah, she f***ed this guy, that guy. During the summer, she lost an exorbitant, she was already a small girl.
Yeah.
She lost an exorbitant amount of weight. I found out that she was shooting heroin all summer long. I had no idea. She kept, dude, it was unbelievable. So anyway, so New Year's Day comes around. Oh, wait a minute, let me back up. December 10th, the guy, so it's a boyfriend and girlfriend in the crack house. Uh-huh. The guy, I was at the library. The
anxiety.
Listen, the probation officer arrested the guy. So then he's in jail for probation violation. So it's just me and his girlfriend. I had no interest in her. It was not like that at all. Well, he was feeling some type of way about the fact that I was staying there. So he called his landlord and told him that I was staying there without their permission. New Year's Day, little Jamaican man comes to the door. He points at me. He's like, you don't live here. And if you're not out of here by 9 o'clock the next morning, the sheriff will come and put you out. Called my brother again. I was like, dude, I'm going to be homeless. So he bought me a bus ticket to Atlanta, and I go down to Atlanta where my mother and brother were living, and kind of started over then. So I lived in Atlanta for 6 months, decided to move to Vegas. That's a whole big long story. A couple of months into living in Vegas, I get a phone call from a mutual friend of ours, me and the girls, right? And she's like, you are never going to believe this. I was like, well, what happened? She said, Ben is dead. I was like, this is her husband now, right? The baby daddy. They got married. She says, Ben is dead. Here's what happened. 2 weeks after she married this guy, she started having an affair, right? She started cheating on him.
She's a lovely lady.
Dude. So the story goes is that he gave her $20 to go out and get Chinese food. She took her daughter with her, goes to the guy's house, calls him up and says, hey, I'm leaving you and I'm gonna be here with this guy with the daughter. Of course, he loses his mind. He drives out to the trailer. He starts kicking in the door. The guy on the other side of the door says, if you kick down this door, I am going to shoot you. He kicked down the door and caught a shotgun slug to the chest, done and killed immediately. It gets even worse. They had to put an ankle bracelet on her because they suspect that she might be the shooter, right? Let's back up one more time. And again, this is all relevant. This is when I still had my car. I'm driving to her place from work. I get to her place, and there are 3 cop cars in the driveway. I'm thinking it's because of something that happened next door, because the dude was always beating on his girl, right? That's the kind of place this was. The cops were at her place. She got arrested for possession. The people I was staying with had called the cops and ratted her out. So now she's in jail, right? And of course, I have to save my fair maiden. I called up an old roommate and borrowed $1,350 to bail her out. She gets out, I love you, then goes right back to Ben. So now we fast forward.
You said Ben was dead.
I backed up.
He backed up.
Okay.
This was before.
Oh, okay.
So you bailed out.
Yep.
The young lady who had left you.
Yep.
To go back, and when you You borrowed the
back
money.
and forth. It was back and
You
forth.
borrowed the money, so you had to pay back this money to someone else who has nothing to do with the situation. And then she went back straight while she had the tattoo of you on her.
Yep.
Okay, keep going. I got like 15 questions to ask you when this is.
I'm almost done. I'm almost done. So now we fast forward. So Ben is now dead. I don't know how they got away with it, but he's not the guy's not in jail. She ends up marrying the guy that killed Ben and had another daughter. So in the end,
This was the original baby daddy.
the original baby daddy is dead. The original baby
Oh,
daddy.
Ben was the original baby.
Ben was the
I'm
original
getting
baby
the
daddy.
names. Okay.
But
Ben
the
was-
lovely lady went to the guy
new
who
guy.
killed Ben.
Yes.
And now, okay.
So so now
Wow.
she ended up marrying the guy who killed her first husband, had another daughter with him. So the father of her first child was killed by the father of her second child. You cannot make this up. And so this is why people always wonder why I'm so passionate and I'm so sure. I have seen the worst. I've been in the worst of the worst situations. It is the worst situation I have ever been in. But to this day, I can freely admit that I have never loved anyone or anything as much as I loved her. And that is my
I
original story.
need